Obviously, he brings experience, but he brings a wealth of knowledge. He can command the offense. Right now, him being older has a lot to do with it, but him being accurate and understanding what we're trying to do has a lot to do with it as well. And we had Kyle for 4 years, and it was a good 4-year run. You know, we just feel like we got a better chance with Teddy.
A good 4-year run with Kyle Trask. Did he ever play? I'm looking at his numbers right now. He has 7 appearances with no starts. He has thrown 11 NFL passes, 4 completions. No touchdowns, no picks, 1 first down, a passer rating of 44.9, which is barely more than what you get by throwing an incomplete pass. I think 37.9 is the number for throwing one or an infinite number of incomplete passes. So, Kyle Trask is the guy that they brought in to maybe be the successor to Tom Brady, and it just didn't happen. Once Brady was gone, they went with Baker Mayfield, and that was that. So it's unfortunate. He was a high pick. I think it was a second-round pick. Yes. He's never gotten a chance to play, and now he's available, and we'll see where he lands. What a surprise. When they brought Bridgewater in, it wasn't a surprise. People were like, why would Teddy Bridgewater be the third-string quarterback in Tampa? It's like he's not going there to be number 3. He's going there to be number 2.
Yeah. I mean, I would kind of disagree with he never got a chance to play. He did have a chance to play. He could have beaten out Baker Mayfield, and he didn't. So that's why he didn't play.
He got a chance. I know what you're saying. He got a chance to earn the right to play. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know. We're going. I'm getting you with the semantics, Mr. Lawyer, but it's true. You know, you have a chance to earn a spot, and if you don't outperform your competition, then you don't play, and that's it. It reminds me, honestly, of what Dan Campbell was saying about Hendon Hooker. I mean, how much more development can you get? At a certain point, it's like, all right. You know, they had Kyle Trask for his entire rookie contract. They brought him back for another season this year. And if you're not performing well enough to be the backup at this point, and you think that there is another player who's out there who's going to be a better option for you at backup, like that's not good. You have to be able to do better so that you're on the roster in September. So I feel like that if that's the way it is for Kyle Trask, you know, good luck to you. But I think there were plenty of chances to stay on the roster as a backup. He just didn't earn it.
And, you know, for some guys, the development includes playing in games that count. There's only so much you can develop in practice and in meaningless preseason games. At some point, you've got to get into a game, have the chance to get accustomed to the rhythm and the flow, get your sea legs, get to the second half, make your adjustments, take the battle all the way through from start to finish. If you never have a chance to do it, we don't know if you can do it. You're doing the projection based upon what you see in practice and preseason games. Maybe this guy's a gamer. Maybe this guy, when the light's on, he gets a chance to play, it all changes. We just don't know. And look, I'd say it's probably a safe bet. It's a safe projection based upon what they saw in practice and preseason games that he's not going to be that guy. But it's just unfortunate that guy comes. You figure a second-round pick is going to get a chance to play in a regular season game meaningfully at some point in his career in the first few years. To devote that high of a pick, that's a failure of that pick. That pick could have gone to somebody else who would have been playing for you since the day he walked through the door.
Absolutely. But I would say it's nothing new where a quarterback doesn't develop in the way that you think he could, and you have to earn that trust in order to get on the field. Look, I guess if Baker Mayfield had at some point gotten hurt in the last couple of years and Kyle Trask was the number 2 there, then we would have seen it. But I don't know, man. Like, I think that there also is something to the fact that, look, you brought him back as a quarterback, you know, it familiar with everybody in the building, familiar with the system, even though they get new OC, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't trust him still, that says a lot about the situation. I don't know. I think you have to be able to earn that. And if you can't earn it when you're in year 5, then, you know, time to get in the getaway car or whatnot, because you're just not the one.
Meanwhile, 2021, not the best quarterback draft class in NFL history.
21.
Trevor Lawrence, who got his second contract, But I feel like he's at a crossroads year with a new coach and a new GM. And one of the reasons there's a new coach and a new GM is Trevor Lawrence wasn't as good as he needed to be last year in the first year after getting his new contract. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Michael McCorkle-Jones, then Kyle Trask. He was the next guy taken. They had that cluster of guys taken in the top 15. And then at pick number 64, bottom of round 2, was Kyle Trask. A couple of picks later, Kellen Mond. Right after that, Davis Mills, Ian Book, round 4, Sam Ehlinger, and that's your quarterback draft class for 2021. Yeesh.
Yeah, that's not good.
And Trask will find a job. I assume he'll find a job. We were just talking the other day about how all these teams don't have backups they feel good about. Now, some teams are going to carry 2 on the roster and a 3rd on the practice squad, maybe a 4th on the practice squad. Some teams will have 3 on the roster and maybe a 4th on the practice squad, or maybe a 4th who's, quietly healing a torn Achilles tendon and is ready to show up and say, deal with me. We'll talk about that later. But I feel like there's a spot for Trask. There aren't enough good quarterbacks to go around. There aren't enough bad quarterbacks to go around. With 32 teams, you need enough for every depth chart, and maybe there's some connection. I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of potential connections with position coaches and others that there may be. Hey, I know Kyle. Let's bring Kyle in. But I'll be surprised if he's just done.
Well, I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head who's the backup in Jacksonville, but I mean, that's a possibility, right? Because he was with Liam Cohen last year and Liam Cohen now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So maybe he ends up backing up Trevor Lawrence. But like I said, I don't remember who the backup is there right now. So, I mean, that's, if we're talking about possibilities where he could land, that's one. I guess the Carolina Panthers would be another, but he would most likely be the 3rd quarterback there because you have Andy Dalton already backing up Bryce Young, and Dave Canales, also former Bucs offensive coordinator. So those are some connections that potentially could be a Kyle Trask landing spot. But yeah, I don't know if that's really attractive. Nick Mullins, Gary says, is apparently the
how dare
backup
you
in Jacksonville.
How dare you not know that Nick Mullins was the number 2? You said
I lost track of Nick Mullins when he left
and
the
you
Vikings.
don't know all of the backup quarterbacks. And they did have John Wolford, the guy who looks a lot like Ed Sheeran. They cut him the other day. So if they're thinking about a 3rd quarterback, maybe Kyle Trask ends up on the Jaguars practice squad. But again, at what point? Not to make a gratuitous pitch for my latest novel, Big Shield, but the protagonist
made him before.
in the book. Well, this one actually fits to what we're talking about. The protagonist is, a guy who's just been hanging around. Like, at what point are you just never going to play? At what point are you just hanging around? And at what point do you start thinking about what else you're going to do with your life, or how else you can make a little money, which is what leads him down the path of
but here's the thing. Okay, but when you're talking about like what you're talking about earlier with Trask not, getting a quote unquote chance to play, that's where it hurts him in being a backup. Because if you are a contending team, or really any team, and you want a backup quarterback, it's better if that quarterback has experience, so he understands what he's got to do when he comes in on a snap's notice and then go out there and execute a play. Like, it's really hard to do that if you don't have the experience. So that would hurt him.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.